Hello and welcome to my channel. This is going to be the introduction or the first part of roughly a 10-part video series where I'll talk about the CAGED system and the way I came to learn it and the way I've been applying it and teaching and showing my students, and to not just have a theoretical concept but also to be able to get it into your fingers and play it. I think you should know these chords. Everybody should know these chords. C chord, A chord, G chord, E chord, and the D chord. Most beginners will learn these over the course of the first year or year and a half. Just the major chords that are down here in the open position. And you might have heard this chord progression. It was a famous song in the 60s, late 60s, and just used three chords, A, D, and E, which are, if you want to go theoretically into it, it's A is the 1, A, B, C, D, D is the 4, A, B, C, D, E, E is the 5. So we're using 1, 4, and 5 in the key, which is a different subject, but just to relate it to it. Now, if I play this and my singer says, well, that's just a little bit too high for me to sing, I need to sing this lower, then I could say, okay, what comes before A? I can go down to G. And I say, okay, G, G, A, B, C. So that's my next chord. G, A, B, C, D is my 5 chord. So my 1, my 4, and my 5 again. Here we go. A chord progression in the key of A, and then played a whole step lower in the key of G. But what now if you want to do it in different keys, in a higher key or in a much lower key? And knowing the guitar and the fretboard with the CAGED system will give you a basic roadmap on how to find the chords if you want to go into a different key. But also what you can do with one chord and you play it in different places on the fretboard. I didn't know about this really until I met my teacher Ted Dunbar, who brought out a book in the 70s. It's this one, and he called it The Interrelationship of Chords, Scales, and Fingerboard of each one of the 12 tonalities of the guitar. It's kind of hard to find this. It was self-published, but it was really beautifully done because he started with the CAGED and he went through all the different keys and would show you where the notes are, and then even in color show you the different chords. It's a system that's been with the guitar in standard tuning since the guitar was invented in standard tuning or being played in standard tuning, because it's just the way the notes are laid out on the guitar. There's no way around it. And what makes it a little complicated for our instrument is that some notes can be played in different places. Like this C up here, first fret on the B string, the exact same note. That's one key on a keyboard. You press down or hit one key on the keyboard, that is the key C, you will get that note. But here on my guitar I can play it here also. It's the same note, sounding a little different, but it's on the G string on the 5th fret. Or I can play it here on the D string on the 10th fret. Or I can go up even higher on the 15th fret on the A string. Those are all the same C. And most of you might know this move. Maybe you haven't thought of that, but the E chord and the F chord are very much related. If you learned only the smaller F, like this one, then you can see if you slide that down, you get the top part of the E chord. So that's a hint there that we can take a chord and we can move it around, obviously. I had just recently a very young student who realized when I showed him, okay, this is D and this is C. For him it was totally clear that, oh, this top part, like the easy C that you teach to the kids, where it's only 3 notes that they have to play, and then they play these 3 notes for D. He said, oh, that's, of course, if I move this down, I get C, because C is before D, and that's a relationship. He just saw that right away. But for most of us, it's not so easy to see. So it helps to have somebody like Ted come and lay it all out, or all the other great teachers that have brought their concepts of the CAGED system and explained it in their ways. Another chord that most of you might already know is playing B minor, which is right here. And that is just you moving the A minor that you played here and moving it up 2 frets from A, B flat to B. So we can see they can be major, which was this one, or they can be minor. In this particular case, they look the same, they're just on different sets of strings, but we'll find out why that is later on. What I'm trying to bring to you is a way of looking at this and seeing it on the guitar. And of course, there are plenty of other videos out there that talk about this, but I have also found a way of teaching it to my students where they can play it, where they can use it on their instrument, and they find applications for it right away. Because you need to have this connection between your ears, your fingers, and the fretboard, and your mind, what you think of in the music, how you understand the music, and how you can put it on the fretboard. The important part is to have a concept of how the notes are laid out on the guitar. A big one is knowing the names of the notes on the guitar, which is a sort of a side effect if you follow my concept throughout and then you start applying it to different keys. And also to see where I can play the same note, like I said before, and use that in music. And I can play the same chord, but I can play it in a different place and it will sound a little differently. It's about making a connection between your fingers, your ears, your mind, and the fretboard. I have worked out a practical approach which will use the blues chords and the dominant 7th chords to get you a foundation. But before that, we'll talk about how this CAGED system is structured on the guitar fretboard. So I hope I'll see you in part 2. Thanks.